It was the method that resulted in the original conviction that was found to be faulty. Skaters and hockey players here at the Cranston Veterans Memorial Ice Rink weren't skating on thin ice tonight. Good evening, I'm Jeremy Tung. Thanks for joining us tonight. We begin with an update on last night's top story. A Warren couple missing for more than 2 weeks is found dead. This was supposed to be a victory party of sorts for the Obama campaign. Only ABC6 was able to get a copy of this police report warning the residents that a drug treatment center is going to be moving into this building. One of the men who installed that boiler is in custody, although not with Providence police. As promised, the governor is putting pen to paper this noontime and rejecting a near $7 billion budget. And as we were mentioning before, strong winds combined with the saturated ground from today's rain did some damage around the region tonight. Certainly a very difficult night for the families of victims and survivors of the Station nightclub fire. When the sewer pipe under here burst, all the houses along this stretch of road actually flooded. The Furtado's house right here got hit the hardest.
What's the mood there, Jeremy?
John, you know, to be honest with you, it's a somber but still a quite upbeat crowd. They just had a band wrap up playing just a few minutes ago and really had the crowd pumped up. But again, it is a little bit somber. You know, this was supposed to be a victory party of sorts for the Obama campaign and the supporters. You mentioned it just a few short minutes ago that he's been riding a wave of 12 straight victories in primaries and caucuses, and that, of course, is including today's victory up in Vermont. But that streak of winning all came to an end today here in Rhode Island for the presidential hopeful Barack Obama. You can hear it there. A chorus of boos fills Lupo's Heartbreak Hotel is on the monitor here. A check mark next to the name of Senator Hillary Clinton signaling her victory over Barack Obama in the Rhode Island primary. Now, hundreds filled the club tonight for what they hoped was going to be an upset victory for Obama. Thousands of volunteers had been canvassing the state all weekend. The airwaves literally being saturated by Obama ads, all in an attempt to close the gap in the polls, perhaps even overtake Senator Clinton. But by 20 after 9 tonight, just 20 minutes after the polls closed, Obama was projected to be the second-place finisher. Supporters obviously very disappointed, but overall still optimistic.
I still think he's going to win. For the Obama campaign, every delegate counts.
And in this tight race, Haley is absolutely correct. Every delegate does count. The two candidates, Hillary and Obama, are obviously neck and neck as they head toward that magic number of 2,025 delegates needed to secure the nomination. And with Texas still up in the air tonight, with an Obama win there, the supporters here at Lupo's are hoping if Obama can win Texas, Hillary will drop out of the race. We're reporting live at Lupo's in Providence tonight. I'm Jeremy Tung, ABC 6 News. Certainly a very difficult night for the families of victims and survivors of the Station nightclub fire. 2.5 hours of testimony in front of the state parole board, 2.5 hours filled with much anger and many tears as they try to keep the man they say maimed or even murdered their loved ones from being granted an early release from prison.
Don't let him out. Please, just don't let this bum out.
One by one, family members of Station nightclub fire victims and survivors made their plea before the parole board. Keep former club co-owner Michael Dadarian locked up.
I do not want Michael Dadarian out on parole. It is disturbing to us that this grossly negligent individual is being considered for early release.
Have him complete what is clearly light punishment for the scope of death, injury, and pain that he has caused.
With pictures of their loved ones by their sides, some even bearing the scars inflicted that February 2003 night, they testified greed and gross negligence are what fueled the flames.
I think that they were more interested in saving money than they were protecting the patrons.
Of the 18 families testifying before the parole board, only one came out in support of Michael Dadarian's early release. Longtime friend Jody King, who also lost his brother Tracy in the fire.
No one, including Michael, got up that morning of February 20th and said, "Let's go torch a nightclub." I assure you he is sorry for what has happened.
For all of us, this is very difficult, very heartbreaking testimony. We can only imagine what these victims have gone through, and we take what they have to say very seriously.
And the board still has some work to do. Next Wednesday, members will hear testimony from Michael Dadarian himself before issuing their decision, which is also expected on Wednesday afternoon. Now, if he is granted parole, Dadarian could walk out of the ACI as soon as the last week of February, which is just after the 5th anniversary of the Station nightclub fire. We're live tonight in Warwick. I'm Jeremy Tung, ABC 6 News. You might not believe it, but walking on this tree 50 feet in the air is Kenny, a teenager living with multiple sclerosis. So are all these kids.
A lot of these kids are from all over the country and don't have peer groups around them that understand the condition and the realities that they deal with on a day-to-day basis.
That's why Brian Skeels and the group Access to Adventure started this pediatric MS Adventure Weekend 3 years ago. 20 kids from across the nation, some from as far away as Hawaii and Alaska.
Oh man, it's just so fun here. I mean, I've never met so many people who are as nice and understanding as these people.
Part of the camp included this trip to the Harmony Hills School, where the teens worked on teamwork, self-esteem.
You said you weren't scared of heights, Kenny.
I said that when I was on the ground.
And challenging themselves to do things many people think they can't. Take 12-year-old Kyle from Ontario. MS claimed his vision, but not his sense of adventure. There he is, 50 feet above the ground, literally walking blindly.
They find that sense of accomplishment and that self-confidence in themselves really, it's the reason we do it.
One of the most important aspects of a camp like this is the opportunity it gives these teenagers to sit down and talk with each other about the challenges of living with a disability. It's something a lot of their other friends just simply don't understand.
I feel comfortable like around other teenagers, like my friends back at home, like they understand, but they don't understand what I go through. Like that, and over here, like, you know, we sit down and talk to each other.
It's really nice to have someone there who really understands what you're going through.
16-year-old Nicole Karen was diagnosed with MS last October.
I'm really proud to have this disease, I guess, because I can help make a difference.
This was her first time at the Adventure Weekend, and almost certainly not her last.
It's really fun, actually. I love it. I've been having more energy here than I have all summer. I think these people are really boosting my self-esteem and stuff like that.
In Gloucester, Jeremy Tung, ABC 6 News.
Wow.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Tung. Thanks for joining us tonight. We begin with an update on last night's top story. A Warren couple missing for more than 2 weeks is found dead. ABC 6 cameras were first on scene today as those bodies were uncovered. ABC 6 reporter Jennifer Gannon joins us now live at the scene in Warren with the latest details. Jen? And the family of James and Marion Soares have yet to speak out about today's developments, but last night I did sit down with Marion's niece and nephew. They told me they were suspicious of the Soares' son, James Jr., and his girlfriend. And again, it is family members that tell us they are suspicious of James Jr. and his girlfriend. Police have said they do have a family member in custody as a suspect, but have not charged that person or identified exactly who it is. New at 6, a serious ATV accident in Warwick. It happened here at Honda Suzuki World on Oakland Beach Avenue. Danny Marfio, an employee, was driving ATVs around the back parking lot, a common practice to keep the batteries running. But the 44-year-old flipped one of the vehicles, hitting his head on the pavement and a metal pole. His brother, the general manager of Suzuki World, says Danny was not wearing a helmet.
Unfortunately, we had an accident.
Danny Marfio is in critical condition tonight at Rhode Island Hospital. A memorial fund has been set up for the family of a Taunton toddler who drowned this week in his family's pool. The accident happened at the family's home on Kilmer Avenue Wednesday morning. Police believe 14-month-old Jacob Edinburgh Carey wandered outside and fell in. Donations can be made to Jakey's Memorial Fund at Taunton Federal Credit Union to help the family, who have 4 other children, with funeral expenses. A Massachusetts soldier killed in Iraq is laid to rest today. Army Sergeant Alex Jimenez remains were brought to his home in Lawrence this week. The 26-year-old was killed when his infantry was ambushed in Iraq more than a year ago. Now to the latest in Vote 08. Democratic presidential candidate Barack Obama wraps up his overseas swing today, while back here in the U.S., Republican candidate John McCain continues to attack his rival's position on Iraq. ABC's John Lawrence has the latest. Well, today was certainly a beautiful day to go for a swim, but take a look at this. One group of swimmers got an unexpected guest. We've got that story coming up. Plus, you'll want to hear why dozens of Rhode Islanders use today's sunny weather to go to the dump. Jim, what's going on?
Well, Jeremy,
Welcome back. Well, it was certainly a beautiful day to go to the beach or work in the yard today, but dozens spent today's sunny weather at the state landfill, including our own Erica Ritchie. Take a look at this. New developments this week in a raid by federal officials that resulted in the arrest of 31 illegal immigrants who were working as janitors at half a dozen Rhode Island courthouses. Governor Don Kachiri has ordered his Department of Administration to terminate the state's contract with 2 companies that employed those illegal workers. The 2 held a total of nearly 4 dozen contracts with the state. During a taping of this week's 6 News on the Record with Chief Reporter Jim Hummel, Attorney General Patrick Lynch talked about those terminations. You can see that entire interview Sunday morning at 7:30 right here on ABC 6. Well, he was just trying to cool off going for a summer swim, but a storm-swelled river was just too much for this swimmer. That daring rescue, we'll show it to you coming up after the break.